Today, I'm going to talk about audio in Rainbow Six. I find myself talking about this topic about once a week with new competitive players, people who are trying to learn the game. Siege audio is relatively simple, but also there's complexities that you might not catch when you're playing the game your first few hundred hours. I've seen people with thousands and thousands of hours who still struggle with audio in this game. First thing we can talk about, we will talk about the things that make noise in the game. So, things that make noise are just about everything. All utilities will make noise. All operators, including knock, even with the gadget on, will make noise. Now, things that you might not realize, getting close to surfaces or different types of surfaces, doorways, stepping through a door, there is a slight elevation on all doors in every map. You will make a distinct footstep sound walking through a doorway into another room. Windows, glass, drones. All of these things have different distances that they also are audible at. So, let's say my drone is only audible at about 7 meters in the current patch of the game. My player walking around like this currently is audible at about 20 meters. My crouch walking movements are audible at about 15. Your slow walking is again about 10 to 15, but it is also reducing the volume and there's no longer distinct footsteps. There are shuffling noises. As I said, once again, doorways make a specific audio cue stepping through them. So one of the key things that we want to know about Siege is how audio travels through space. Audio will take the shortest path to get to the player. So that means if somebody is in trophy walking around, I am going to hear them come from this doorway. Now, if I get onto the doorway, the audio transitions within about 3 meters of a door. This doorway will no longer exist. It is basically opening up the space. And when the space is open, I can hear in a 3D space. So that means I can hear through the wall at that point. I will be able to look at the thing that's making noise around the door frame. So if somebody were to walk through the doorway into trophy, I would be able to hear exactly that. Or if somebody were top main, I could hear the doorway top main. I cannot hear past the doorway until I'm within 3 meters of the next door. Now, we can circumvent that with opening up soft walls. Soft walls block all audio until they're open. Now that this wall is open, it extends into the hallway and allowing me to hear in 3D space once again. So if somebody were at the bottom of the stairs, I could hear them through the floor right now, and I'd be able to look at them and track them as they walk up. Punch holes do not extend or open the wall, so this will not actually allow audio to pass through. The minimum for soft wall destruction that allows audio to pass through is shooting out a hole like this. Once you have this little hole here, you should be able to hear into the next room. So without this being open, I would only be able to hear the attic door or the trophy door. Now that this is open, I can hear all the way into kids or into the lower attic, upper attic areas. So I can basically look through the wall, pinpoint exactly where people are based on audio. Tinnitus effects. Any explosive, especially flash grenades or frag grenades, are going to create a tinnitus effect to anybody that's around them. And that tinnitus effect will block audio of people moving. It'll muffle shooting. It's basically an opportunity for somebody to move and make plays without you being aware of it. Vertical audio. So, if I'm walking around on this floor, a player below me can hear me just fine. He could pinpoint where I am and throw a grenade or a C4. Especially if I were to cross in the room and then stop right here, I would be C4'd from below if anyone were listening. Now, the opposite is not true. If I'm below, walking around currently, the player above will not be able to hear me. There's no holes in the floor, so therefore audio is not allowed through. Now, as soon as I open the floor, somebody above will be able to hear me below. I'm no longer hidden down here. They would be aware of me. Now, coming into Armory, we have a window here. This map has glass on windows. Some maps do not. The maps that do, this is very important to know. Nothing going on outside is currently audible to me because this glass is up. There's no audio being passed through. As soon as I break the glass, I can hear outside. Now, this is important, especially for both defenders and attackers, because if this glass is open, that means I could be looking at the players out in spawn. I can hear them walking out and where they're going. That also means that if I'm in Armory and I'm a defender and I move around, players might be able to hear me outside. They would be aware of my presence in Armory. It's a two-way street. It's very important to know that there's no audio, though. Now, a little trick players can use. Glass will not break if you shoot it once. Now, that also creates a bullet hole, so I could go ahead and continue to shoot and not break the glass. Why would this be important? Well, we can shoot out a window without making noise, and we can see into the room that we want. So see, I can look into attic now that I've shot out the opposite window, but they have no clue where I'm shooting from. Sources of audio like radios can muffle anybody who are slow walking or even crouch walking. If you leave those sources of music playing, you will not be able to hear as well as you would without them being destroyed. When you look at somebody while they're moving, the audio will be centered directly in front of you. As soon as they start to drift left or right, they are going to be heard predominantly in the side that they're moving on. So say somebody's moving around inside of the games and dorm area, I would only be able to hear them at the door here, but now it would be in my left ear because the door's on my left, or it would be in my right ear because the door's on my right. So, demonstration. This will be the audio you hear when no one's in a room. Now listen to it again with a player in the same room. Very, very minor differences, but the trained ear, throw a couple of nades, listen to it, throw a couple of nades with a friend in a room, listen to it again. You will 100% be able to tell the difference.